Ready? Post. Ready? Face. Right. Face. Out step. Right.
Thank you. Good morning. I would like to thank you for coming out and joining us in this magnificent space for this special ceremony to recognize our veterans. My name is Antwan Lofton, and I serve as the Vice President for Human Resources here at Duke. And it is my privilege to be here to honor the men and women in uniform and those who have worn it. But first, please join me in showing appreciation for the Joint Color Guard and the John Brown Ensemble by giving them a round of applause. At this time, we would invite Dr. Reverend Luke Powery, Dean of the Duke University Chapel, who will offer the invocation.
Let us pray. O God, our help in ages past, our hope for years to come, as we gather in Duke Chapel, the great towering church that rises above us, we are reminded of the men and women whose military service soared with sacrifice, honor, dedication, courage, purpose, and humility. We thank you for all military veterans who gave their lives that others may live, for their preparation and commitment to lead and serve, for their faithfulness to their mission, for their care for this country, and for their unwavering devotion to freedom for all people. May they feel honored, not just today, but every day. And may they never be forgotten or ignored. May they experience the gratitude of the nation and of those who gather here today as we celebrate their contribution to the world. If they've endured loss, meet them with comfort. If they have wounds and scars, bring healing. If they are isolated, surround them with a great cloud of human support. When they are down, pick them up and embrace them with your eternal, unconditional love, affirming that they are your beloved children. On this day, bless them far beyond all their expectations, and pass on your peace, that it may fill their hearts and minds with the beauty of the light of this new day. Let there be light shining on them and through them, that all may see the good they have done for us all. As they have worked for peace, let us all strive for peace, remembering blessed are the peacemakers, for they will be called children of God. And as your children, inspired by veterans, lead us to help somebody as we pass along, to cheer somebody with a word or song, to show somebody if they're traveling wrong, so that our living would not be in vain. Let all veterans know that their living was and is not in vain. Thank you for the living witness of those we honor today and for their selfless service, which inspires us all to do the same. Lead us not to be concerned with being served, but to be compelled to serve. In the name of the one who serves us breath and life every day. Amen.
Today we pause to honor and say thank you to those who have served in our armed forces and stood to preserve and protect our freedoms. For those who have served, words like honor, service, courage, and respect are more than a description of our institutional values, because values are only words until they live in your bones, as they do for our veterans long after their days of wearing a uniform. You may not know it, but many of these individuals work beside us on this campus or study in our classrooms. Duke has 2,300 staff and faculty who have served in the armed forces, and another 880 Duke students who have served or have current military affiliation. Today, we gather to honor all of our veterans, their service, their commitment to duty that have preserved the freedoms that we enjoy today. We are very thankful for everything that you have done. Joining us today, we have the privilege of hearing from John Dailey as our keynote speaker. John Dailey is the Associate Vice President for Public Safety and has served as the Chief of Police for Duke University Police Department for 15 years. Dailey graduated from the Police Executive Research Forum's Senior Management Institute for Police in Boston and from the FBI National Academy in Quantico, Virginia. Chief Dailey was commissioned as a second lieutenant through the Wake Forest University ROTC program. He served in Germany, Southwest Asia, and Virginia. He left the Army as a captain after 6 years of service. He is married to Kimberly, and they have 3 sons. Not only do I count him as a colleague, I am very thankful to call him friend. John Dailey.
Thank you and greetings, especially to the active duty members, the ROTC cadets, and most especially to our veterans. How wonderful to be in this majestic Duke Chapel, the center of this great university, as we take a few minutes to honor those who served in the armed services. And how appropriate, as towards the end of the Civil War, the Confederacy was desperate for more men. It increased the draft age to 45. Washington Duke, for whom this university is named, was a subsistence farmer in neighboring Orange County and raising 4 children by himself as his wife had died, and he was 43 years old. He sold his house and his farming tools. He broke up his family, his oldest son assigned to work at a Confederate prison in North Carolina, and the younger children going to live with grandparents. Washington Duke reported to Raleigh to be assigned to the Confederate Navy. He was sent to Charleston and to Richmond and was briefly a prisoner of war. The war concluded 1 week after his capture. He was ultimately released in New Bern, North Carolina, where he walked 134 miles home. The rest, as they say, is history. Today we gather to honor veterans who are in this Duke community as faculty, staff, students, and family members. You just heard the numbers. Nationally, about 6% of the adult population are veterans. And regardless of whether their service was in the Army, Navy, Air Force, Marines, Coast Guard, Space Force, these veterans made a decision and took a common oath. The oath for military officers is little changed from the 1868 version. This is the oath I took, my father took, and my son, an MS4 and Army ROTC, will take, along with senior ROTC members here. I do solemnly swear that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States against all enemies, foreign and domestic, that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same, that I take this obligation freely without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion, and that I will faithfully and well discharge the duties of the office on which I'm about to enter. So help me God. An oath not to an individual, but to the Constitution. Each veteran here has a unique story of why he or she served. Did they volunteer or were they drafted? Was it a calling or an escape? Were they certain or unsure? Was this a family expectation or were they charting their own path? Veterans, regardless of service branch, share some common experiences: a lack of control of one's time, little say in the job, unit, or duty station, little personal space, separation from family and friends, friendships made, work through major holidays as if they were another day of the week, early morning physical training, close order drill, guard duty, staff duty, being cold, hot, wet, experiencing extreme emotions, deployments, and friendships lost through time, distance, and death. Each one of the veterans here will have a unique memories from their service. As an example from my time being stationed in Germany when the Berlin Wall fell, standing in the door of a C-130 Hercules aircraft preparing to parachute out and watching the countryside below, taking several of my German neighbors to the officer club brunch on base as they had lived with 100,000 U.S. troops in their community their whole lives but never been on the Army or Air Force base in their city. There's a parable that's hundreds of years old. For the want of a nail, the shoe was lost. For the want of the shoe, the horse was lost. For the want of the horse, the rider was lost. For want of the rider, the message was lost. For want of the message, the battle was lost. For want of the battle, the kingdom was lost. All for the want of a nail. As I first heard this as part of military training, it was stressing the importance of the small details when planning tasks or missions. But now it reminds me of the unseen duties many of these veterans did that no one will ever know, but were important to the country at that time. Someone has to get the shoe and feed the horse and assign the rider and write the message and conduct the battle. And again, for the sake of example from my time, receiving a classified message as a staff duty officer one night, and this was before cell phones and email, with a tasking to orchestrate the immediate transport of a large piece of equipment to the Rhein-Main Air Base in Frankfurt as it was needed immediately in another country for the emergency evacuation of U.S. citizens from a country in turmoil. Deploying with my platoon to support a community in Germany that had lost critical infrastructure, and being sent to help coordinate the emergency air deployment of an Army Air Defense Unit and its equipment from Germany to a NATO nation being targeted with enemy missiles. The veterans out there have similar stories. They attended to the wounded, ensured communication equipment worked, trained teams, maintained jets, maintained helicopters, flew them, served on ships, developed plans, patrolled, participated in missions around the world. While today we honor the veteran remembers the team around them, brothers and sisters, depending on each other and interconnected, various teams supporting their part of the overall mission, all parts needed for success, much like the nail, the horse, the rider. And for the Army veteran, we remember our squad, platoon, company, battalion, brigade, division, corps, the dependency on sister agencies, the Navy, Air Force, Marines with their unique capabilities, the reliance on the CIA and other intelligence groups for critical information, all volunteers, all with a common mission, a common oath, and a common commitment, working together as one team. In closing, the 1942 Rose Bowl was played here at Duke due to the attack on Pearl Harbor 3 weeks prior. The Duke team, undefeated and coached by Wallace Wade, played Oregon State. Most of the coaches and players from that game ultimately fought in World War II. Wallace Wade joined the Army soon after the game. Brian Curtis captures many of their stories in his book. After the war, Coach Wade returned to coach at Duke. The Raleigh newspaper reported that Coach Wade was asked his biggest disappointment: Duke's loss to Oregon State in the Durham Rose Bowl, or Duke's loss to Southern California in the 1939 Rose Bowl. He replied, his biggest disappointment was not being allowed to be among the first Americans to land at Normandy. Veterans, quiet, unselfish service, well and faithfully discharging the duties on behalf of the United States, being prepared to give their lives for others. These are the individuals who we celebrate today. This has been my honor. Thank you.
Thank you, John, for your service and for taking time to share your thoughts and reflections with us today. At this time, we would like to invite our university president for his reflections and remarks. President Price.
Thank you, Antwan, and thanks as well for all of our colleagues who have organized this important event recognizing the service and the sacrifice of so many members of our Duke community. This year's Veterans Day service is particularly resonant as we mark our university's centennial, and we celebrate the people, including thousands of veterans who have helped make Duke what it is. We're very grateful for the many veterans among our students, staff, faculty, and alumni who have served in every conflict dating back to the World Wars, and we're extremely proud to call them members of the Duke community. As we mark our centennial, it's worth remembering that our founding document clarified that Duke's mission is to, quote, maintain a place of real leadership in all that we do. This work is strengthened by the perspective, the experience, and the dedication of our veterans. And as I've noted before, and as we have just heard, Duke has long been committed to supporting our service members and maintaining an active engagement with the armed forces. During World War II, Dr. Wilbert C. Davison, Dean of the School of Medicine, developed the concept for Duke Hospital Army Unit, which was to become the 65th General Hospital in Suffolk, England, a unit that went on to treat more than 17,000 3,000 wounded patients, many of whom were frontline casualties. Dr. Eugene Stead started the first formal physician assistant training program in the country right here at Duke in 1965. The concept was based on a belief in the potential of putting medics and corpsmen in doctors' offices, and the first students in that program were all former Navy corpsmen. Just as those veterans who have previously worked and studied at Duke played such a critical role in our past, our current community of veterans have an extremely important role shaping our future. And I'm delighted that one of those veterans, our Chief of Police and Associate Vice President for Public Safety, John Dailey, just shared his perspectives with us here today. We are proud to stand alongside our veterans and grateful for their service to this country. Thank you all for joining us in this important recognition.
Thank you, President Price. As we know that there are some of the most memorable individuals who unfortunately, while giving or being of service, they lost their lives. Today, we will end our ceremony by recognizing Duke's veterans who have fallen in service to our country. At this time, I would like to ask each of you to join us as we go out to the wreath-laying ceremony. We will be joined and led by Dave Kennedy, Laura Hellenday from Alumni Engagement, and Paul Dillon, adjunct professor in the Sanford School of Public Policy. If you need assistance or ADA accommodations going out to the wall, there will be someone to the left of the chapel to assist you going out. Please follow us.